Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the Knife Center for the first new episode of New Knives of the Week for the new year. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to 2026. What better way to kick off the first day of the new year with some new knives. Let's do some new knives, shall we? Starting off with olive knives. I bet you do too. The dad jokes are not going to stop just because it's a new year. Sorry, folks.
He has told that joke every day ever since we got the brand.
And it doesn't get old to me. Sorry, guys.
Olives, on the other hand, do get old.
Yeah, old olives, stay away. Unless they're pickled or fermented. It could be interesting.
Then they have to be old.
Indeed. Olive knives. You may have seen, well, let me jump forward just a little bit here. You may have seen this knife, the Arbor. We've covered this a decent bit in the last couple of weeks because even though it's brand new, it is awesome. And Seth and I are both very, very excited and enamored with this knife. We've got more than just the Arbor now, however, to talk about. First, a folder. This is the Lenta. There are two versions of it coming in at $329 for this LMAX steel version, or $349 for a tungsten carbide bladed version. More on that in just a second. But what we have here is their spin on a decently hard use or hard working standard sized everyday carry crossbar locking knife. It's got a drop point, which we all know I'm a big fan of because it's the most kind of broadly usable knife shape in my opinion. It does the most things well, even if certain things excel over a drop point in certain scenarios. LMAX steel, really cool choice right there. 3.13 inches on the blade length, not too thick, not too thin, with a crowned spine, which is nice. But the most striking feature you probably see here is that blade grind. Now, whereas the Arbor is they're calling this their Fibonacci grind, and it's using a series of flat planes to mimic a convex geometry. This is also following the same kind of shape, or at least steps, but instead of convex, each one of these steps in a little bit, if that makes sense. So you've got a flat grind going up, and then it steps in, and flats out, and then steps in like that. Thomas might be able to do a graphic or something to explain better because my hands are, not straight lines. Kind of cool to think about what that could do from a performance aspect. It definitely, removes some thickness behind the shoulders right here. I'm pointing to the backside as though you could see it. Pardon me about that. And it could also aid in release of material, especially if you're doing food prep type of things. Think of like an S grind on a custom chef knife, or like the scalloped edges, the Granton grind, or the dimples you see on like a lot of Santokus. Something similar to that, perhaps. I don't know, very interesting. Certainly not going to get in the way of everyday slicing, and the stone-washed finish there is going to keep it looking good for a long time, too. The handles are G10. Nice bit of matte texture to them as well. Decent shape. I have slightly larger than average hands, and in the standard hold position here, my pinky finger is kind of right on that beak right there. It still works. It's not so much a problem, but if I want a full grip, you've got an extra finger groove here right around the pivot, which encourages you to slide up, and you can really bear down, especially close to the heel. If you're cutting something right there, you can keep most of your force in line as you're pushing through the cut a little bit better. It's pretty cool. We've got the same hardware as on the big fixed blades, this big T30 fastener that gives you the lanyard hole at the back, as well as reversibility of that pocket clip. And then the other thing that you may be seeing a little bit through the holes for the crossbar lock here, instead of an omega spring, it actually uses a pair of coil springs, one for each side. They are calling it a compression spring bar lock, or CSBL. I don't know if they can use the word compression, since Spyderco has that as a patent or a trademark for their locking type. This is not a compression style lock, however. It's just coil springs, or a compression spring. feels good. Feels just like any other crossbar lock out there, which is to say quite nice. Washers in the pivot instead of ball bearings, so that gives you a buttery type of feel and should be a little bit better for dirt and grit and that sort of thing. Although some people in the comment section have disagreed with me, and that's okay. I think these liners are titanium too. I'm not sure. They look like titanium. Cool knife. Let's look at the other version here, though, the toughened tungsten carbide blade. It is a lot thinner, as you can see, compared to the LMAX bladed version. And the grind on it, I guess we could technically call that a Scandi grind on the edge there. And the blade itself is certainly very thin, so it should still slice pretty nicely, because of course the thicker you go on a Scandi grind, the more kind of wedge-like the edge will behave. But on a thing that's thin like this, shouldn't have any problems whatsoever. Brings me to another point. These knives are put together in the US, but the steel here, or the blade here, I am wondering if they're working with Sandrin out of Italy to source this blade material. I know they have had a lot of success with a tough tungsten carbide. And indeed, although these are built in the US, they also use parts and materials from Italy and South Africa in these knives. So, I don't know if it's a Sandrin blade or not. Let us know. G10 for the handles, everything else as you would expect. Really nice blade shape, I dig it. Yeah, I dig this next knife even more, however. Fixed blade, surprise, surprise. A pocket fixed blade. This is the Venari. $330 comes with that same stepped in Fibonacci grind. If they are indeed calling that the Fibonacci grind here. Slightly smaller fasteners, but same kind of T30. You could pass lanyards through either one of those. You've got a nice set of thumb scallops here at the front, making pinch grips very, very nice. 2.89 inches on the blade, LMAX steel. Perfect size for pocket carry, and it's a 3.5 finger grip, which those measurements together for me have always worked really well. So it's cool to see them here. Contour black G10, a little bit of a dimple there. Here is the sheath, and they've done it a little bit differently than most. It is a taco style Kydex sheath, but instead of, well, usually the edge would be facing the rivets here. That's just typically the way they are most often done. And then your ulti clip would sit here to achieve pocket carry. But what they've done is reverse that around and mounted the ulti clip to the actual side. So that does a couple things. One, it still allows you to keep this at the back edge of your pocket. It allows this side to be clearer, so when you're moving past it, less to snag. And it allows them to mount the ulti clip in a way that doesn't get in the way of the blade. If it's sticking out here and sticking up, sometimes that can be a little wonky, and that also pushes the knife handle further towards the middle of your pocket. So I can see why they did it. That's pretty cool. There you go. Sorry, I was moving pretty fast there. Sorry, Thomas. It's a really cool knife as far as I'm concerned too. I like the jimping going out almost all the way to the tip. I love the shape of that drop point. It's a continuous curved edge, which is very nice for sliciness. The tip is acute enough. There's less belly at the tip itself, making that, or giving you a little more precision out there. It's just win-win all the way around. Next up, the Arbor. More colors in stock. We've got the orange G10 right here, $399. And as I've described this is like a perfect fixed blade. I would not change a single thing about this. LMAX steel, just over 4.5 inches long. You've got that faux convex style Fibonacci grind. It's probably no real difference than a standard convex, provided your standard convex has a secondary bevel. Some convexes like a Morakniv come down to a 0 without a secondary bevel. Others like an LT Right do have a secondary bevel. So anyway, crown spine all the way around except for in front of where your thumb would sit. That area is crisp for scraping or striking a fire steel, that sort of thing. The ergos on the handle, for my hand size at least, are spot on perfect. There's just enough of a finger guard there to be effective without getting too much in the way. There's no finger choil to rob you of usable length. On this size of knife, I tend to prefer not having a finger choil for that very reason. It just works super awesome. You can get them with these style fasteners or flared tubes if you prefer that. And the sheath is Kydex, and it comes with, call it like a bumper or something right here. You've got this rubber bit between the top two pieces right here. Easy place to push off on and help maintain the tension of that Kydex up near the top. It's a perfect fixed blade. What can we say against it? Well, if you don't have $400, it's gonna be hard to get your hands on it, but it is pretty dang perfect. How about something more affordable then? The Mora 2000S Black Edition. And this is pretty cool for me personally. The Mora 2000 is one of the oldest Moras that I personally own. Back in the day, I don't know whether I got this or the military model or the Red Handle Classic. I still have all three of them, but I got all three of those within a short span of time. So I've always had a real soft spot for this design. What they've essentially done with this Black Edition, they've given you a DLC 14C28N blade from the Kansbol series. And the cost is about $60 right now. Now, that's kind of cool. I'll tell you what, here is the Kansbol right here with its 14C28N blade. And here is the Mora 2000, not my Mora 2000, but this is my Mora Kansbol. It's got that kind of dual, that Scandi grind with the scalloped front edge right there, thinning out the geometry. Again, helps it slice better. We talked about that already. 12C27 for the blade on the 2000, however. But you can see the geometry and length is essentially the same. They've given this kind of a high polish as opposed to the more crisp satin finish that the Kansbol has. So they've essentially taken that Kansbol and put it on the 2000's handle, which is not that different, honestly, from the Kansbol. How can I hold this to kind of show it off? Yeah, I've always thought of the Kansbol as kind of the evolution of the 2000, and I thought we might be seeing a discontinuation of this model at some point. But if they've got the molds, and the molds aren't wearing out, they can just keep cranking out handles until the molds break, I guess. So why not do something different and interesting? I think it's different and interesting anyway. Should I talk about what it actually is? The 4.3-inch blade, 14C28N, as mentioned, black DLC finish. It's a bit see-through. It's quite nice. You can get it in the black TPE handle or the standard, two-tone green, both with that black blade as well. The ergos are great. It's a little bit skinnier here at the front than the Kansbol is, but is very, very comfortable. Thin enough to be slicey enough. You've got great woodworking potential thanks to the Scandi grind, and even better skinning potential thanks to the scallop behind the Scandi grind on the front edge. It's an awesome knife. It has a sheath too.
It's a drop sheath.
Which is just like this, except black on this black version. Simple loop, simple fit in, ambidextrous, water resistant, it drains. Falls on the floor really nicely too. I better not drop this next one though. Big news of the last couple weeks, Microtech has announced the RAM-LOK Socom, taking the classic Socom design and updating it once again. This right here is a Marfione custom version of the upcoming Microtech standard versions. And it is, a bit pimped out. You've got a higher finish on the blade. It is marked prototype here on the clip. The price is $2,400, which is why I better not drop it.
Got it all out of your system, right?
I'm like gripping this so hard right now. 4-inch blade, M390 MK steel, the RAM-LOK. So you've got crossbar lock type action, finger safe closing. Another lock using a coil spring rather than Omega springs. I said it earlier. Man, why couldn't I remember it there? Feels really good. It's a little bit thinner. Well, I have actually one of the current iteration of automatics here. You can see it is a little bit thinner than the auto. And you also lose some edge to the finger choil they give you on the RAM-LOK version right here. It also lacks the taper towards the spine and the glass breaker that the standard versions come with. And you do get a deep carry pocket clip, however, tip down, which was not achievable or not currently installed on anyway on the automatic or manual standard versions. If you want to see more comparing the two, we actually put a video short up a week or so ago, something like that. We'll leave a link to that somewhere where you can check it out. So yeah, this thing is obviously very nice. A lot of hand attention been paid to this as opposed to being the full production run. It'll be cool to see the full production run when it comes in as well. And now I should put it down. Now I should put it over here lest I drop anything on the table, actually, because that's a very expensive knife. This one is less so. This is the BLACKHAWK Sonar, an automatic knife. US made, of course, D2 steel, 3¼ inch tanto blade. You can also get it with serrations if you'd rather not have the plain edge. And price on this is about $132 with black aluminum handles. The actual texture on the aluminum is pretty soft. It's not quite slippery, but it leans that direction a little bit just on the texture. But the extra milling they've applied to the handle mitigates that somewhat. Yeah, it is kind of in line with the way your hands go, but it does provide extra traction. I like the shape of this this tanto blade. Actually, said before, I like the utility of a drop point. The way this is almost a drop point. In fact, if I sharpened through this aggressively, I could turn it into a drop point pretty quick because you've got the drop to the spine there. What else we got? We got a reversible deep carry pocket clip. You've got the blue backspacer right there, and you've got push button automatic action. Not a super wrist snapping action, but certainly has worked every time, no problem. And you've also got a safety switch that works in both the open and closed position. So if you open the blade and want to make sure you don't accidentally push the button while you're working heavily with the blade or the knife, pop it into the locked position. And the same thing applies in the closed. Not going to work. Good handle shape. It works really well as a utility knife, just an everyday carry type of thing. Obviously, BLACKHAWK is more of a tactical brand, but still, you lose nothing by way of just excellent, smart, everyday carry knife design with this Sonar right here. At least I think so. Check it out. I was like, why is there such a gap right there? It's because I moved the Marfione out of the way. Let's get into I'm calling this section of the video the funky button section. This is the Rike knife Cicada, a keychain knife with a button lock. It's quite expensive. It's $250, but it is quite ornate what they've done with it. You've got a sub 2-inch M390 blade, single-edged, but a dagger-like profile. And how do I even really kind of describe it? There's a few different color finishes available. I like this kind of dark gray with the gold cicada wings, front and back. You've also got the eyes right here, and this is actually a finish applied to just that section as opposed to a separate piece. And then the pivot holds down kind of this whole head section. You can just kind of see the crease or the join right there, which is a super, super precise join going on that works on both sides, as you can see right there. Here's where it gets tricky. There's the closed position. Looks just like a pendant, really. It doesn't look like a knife whatsoever, except the knifely among us might see this wheel right here with the jimping and go, oh, it's a flipper. It's not. Although, Thomas, I just figured it out. So you have to push the button down to free the blade and allow it to travel. You can slow roll it like that, because since you do have the jimping right there. So push the button and you can open it deliberately like that if you don't want to be like, that person. Really cool. Oh, actually, how did I just notice this? It's also an integral. Because it's part of the way to, explaining the price on that as well. Pretty darn cool, man. Check this out in all the colors down below. It's a, they say a keychain knife, but man, that could really get scratched up real quick if you're banging it around on the keychain. You know what it is actually? It's a 5th pocket blue jean knife. That would work really well in that little watch pocket down there. Change pocket, coin packet.
I can see if you've got one of those wireless keys for your car and you just wear it on your necklace. That is a keychain knife.
Like this, and your car keys as a necklace?
Yeah.
Does anyone do that?
There's a percentage of the population.
A non-zero amount of people do that. Okay, fair enough. Next up, a couple knives from Ketuo. These first two are David Jin Griffin designs. David Jin designs. We have the Griffin and the Griffin, here it is, and the Mini Griffin right here. And these are button actuated liner locks. They're not compression style top liner locks, anything like that. These are straight up liner locks, although on the Mini, you can't actually use it as a liner lock. It only works with the button. Let's start with the full size first, actually. $96 for this. You got a 3.54 inch blade of 14C28N, very acute Wharncliffe style profile, slightly harpooned maybe, cool horizontal grain on it, G10 handles, and the button to actuate said liner lock. You can open it one of three ways, or all three of each three ways sequentially. A rear flipper, a blade cutout for a thumb or finger, and a front flipper. And I don't have to do the front flipper. You could also, of course, just push the button and wrist flick it open as well.
It's 4 ways.
Yeah, I know. I was addenduming what I said before.
Math.
You can use it as a normal liner lock if you wish. It is accessible from the outside, or you can close it in a finger-safe manner by pushing the button and flicking it closed. Feels all right. It's a little bit of an angular handle, but it's not too bad, and plenty of space to choke up if you really needed to, although I will note, did I just do that, or did I not have it locked all the way? Okay, I must not have had it locked all the way the first time. I thought I bumped the button and it started to close on me, but it sounds like operator error in this case. Do be careful of that though, because that is something that can happen with button locks. If you want to spend more money for less knife, the Mini is a more premium variation. Instead of 14C28N, we have M390, so it's a powder metal steel, and we have titanium instead of G10. Blade length here is just under 3 inches. Similar blade shape, although in this case it feels more like a drop point than the sort of modified Wharncliffe of the bigger, although you might be able to call that a spear point. I don't know. Gray titanium blue shred carbon fiber on this one, but other flavors are available. Again, with the button actuation right there, as I clumsily do it with my left hand. There you go, that's way better. Again, same number of deployment options. Blade cutout, front flipper, rear flipper, or just wrist flick open and closed. No option to use it just as a standard liner lock in this case, however, because it is buried inside. We have a milled pocket clip as well. It is reversible, it's not deep carry, however, in this case. Pretty nicely done. Last but not least from Ketuo, we have the Yakuza frame lock, $295 for this one. 3.3 inch M390 blade, big aggressive tanto. I like the styling of that. M390 with a black DLC coating. The handles here, gray titanium with copper foil carbon fiber. And the way this nestles in my hand is really, really nice. I like the way it kicks the blade down a little bit naturally. The angle of that handle causes you to do that and lets you access the tip a little better. Feels more aggressive if you're leading with the tip as well. Milled pocket clip, good ergos to the handle. The pocket clip stays out of the way. You've got contour to the handle to fill up things quite nicely. Frame lock, as you can see, or bolster style frame lock, as some people choose to call it. Couple of opening methods here as well. You got a front flipper, you've got a blade cutout, you've got these thumb plates as well. However, I'm finding them like, yeah, you can use the thumb plates. They feel like they're too far back on the spine though. It's a little clumsy to use it. I'd rather just use the blade cutout. But I'd rather use the thumb studs than the front flipper now. Hey, what are you gonna do? We all have our preferences. Pretty cool knife. Digging that one. Next up, we've got two blades from Geo Knife. Although, wait a minute. The food, the gooey duck, is spelled geoduck. Are these gooey knives?
It's a rock.
Geodes.
Yeah.
Or gooids. Gourds. You're thinking of Pumpkins.
Let's squash this.
Fair enough. This is the Noxiz or Noxiz crossbar locking knife. We also have the Sharp Shadow with a clip point. But let's talk about the Noxiz first. Price on this is about $207. A few different handle versions. A couple of them get a little more expensive than this with a different blade finish. But you got a 3.1 inch M390 blade, a bit cleaverish in nature, I would say. You could say modified sheep's foot as well. Slightly on the thicker side, maybe for a knife this size, combined with a not quite full flat grind here, means it should slice okay, but it's not going to be like a scalpel-like slicing going on. It should be fairly durable, though, as a result. Titanium for the handles with honeycomb texture. Single-sided pocket clip. Bit of a bummer for lefties because the crossbar lock, of course, is a very lefty-friendly lock because it's the same either side. Comfort feels pretty good. I can get all 4 of my fingers on there if I choke up just a little bit. Feels quite nice. Or I can choke back and bring the tip down a little bit. It's already a below centerline tip anyway. Let's try the reverse flick to open. Okay, can kind of do it. You got to overcome the strength of the Omega springs in this case. Yeah, it's nice. The Geo Knife stuff is definitely well priced for what you're getting. Many competitors might feel like they're going to be more expensive than these wind up being, especially like their ethereal model. We've got like $90 versions with M390 steel. It's kind of unreal. This one is the Shadow crossbar, or sorry, the Sharp Shadow with titanium handles and M390. It's about 160. 3.3 inch M390 blade. Real nice clip point shape. There's a grace to it. There's just a hint of recurve to it as well. Gives it a little more slinkiness to the shape overall. I like the shape of the handles though too. Fits me pretty nicely, slightly on the small side, but the shape is spot on. If they scaled this up, another ½ an inch and scaled the blade up commensurately, that would be a really cool larger folder. The handle would be perfect for me for that kind of shape anyway. Milled pocket clip here as well, not deep carry, but it is reversible in this case. You've got a really tightly fitted blockout plate on the front, nice and flush. Everything about it is speaking of very high quality overall. As I flub the closing, man, can't win them all, I guess. Feels good. Next up, from our friends at Artisan Cutlery, we've got the Gambit. This is the G10 pawn version, but they're kind of naming all of these after different chess moves. There's the Black Knight, the G10 pawn, the Blasted Bishop. Is he drunk or is he like hit in the face with sand? I'm not sure.
We spent some time with the monks in that abbey. That makes all the
Yeah, that's true. The Rugged Rook, the King's Gambit, and the Queen's Gambit, of course. Prices on those vary depending on materials, because each one of those is a distinct looking knife, even though they're the same shape overall. We're priced from $192 up to $749 for the King's Gambit. I just picked this one because this is the one that appealed most to me on a quick glance. It happens to be the least expensive one. Kind of cool. 3.5 inch drop point blade, full flat grind S90V steel, not whisper thin, enough to be durable, but great slicing geometry and very acute at the tip. You can see the way that thins down quite nicely. G10 inlays with the cross hatching going on. About 3.5, just about 4 fingers in the standard hold here, plus space to choke up. So definitely a roomy enough handle when you need to push the knife a little harder. We've got a frame lock for security. We've got a front flipper or cutouts in the blade for thumb flipping or thumb opening or reverse flicking. The reverse flick is quite nice. Feels really good indeed. Milled pocket clip, reversible, as you can see right there. Very classy, even at this cheap version of almost $200. And it's an Artisan, so you know it's built pretty well too. Now from CJRB, their budget sister brand, the Lanky. A very thin, we could possibly say it's a take on the executive knife genre, although it might be kind of doing its own original thing. Especially with the front flipper here, it almost feels kind of like old school Higo no Kami, like old school folder designs. You could slow roll it open quite nicely like that. I haven't even tried to do a front flip. I suppose I should, just once. It works. Man, that is an acute tips flying around there though. You can of course use the single-sided thumb stud. Just make sure you're clear of the slot right there, because that is how far back the thing comes. The first time I was holding it a little too close, and yeah, you can see what happens there. Hits your hand, hits your finger. So as long as you're choked back enough, no problem at all. $43 for this knife. You got a 3.6-inch blade, RPM 9. They're spray form steel, which is very, very good on the budget end of things. And aluminum handles, 2-piece actually. Closes the back, so you've got a flatter piece on the back and a L-shaped bit essentially from the on the front side wrapping around. Deep carry pocket clip, tail mounted with reversibility in mind, which is quite nice. Inset liner lock. Pretty cool. This is the champagne handles, but a blue and a black with a black blade are also an option. Let's keep the slender stuff going. We've got a Bastinelli Creations ventilator, or sorry, the ventilation rapier right here. I think you can guess why it is called that. $150. It's about a 3.42-inch blade. DC53 satin hollow ground tri-edge. Hollow ground, interesting. It looks pretty flat to me. Anyway, it's a triangular shaped thing. This is not for cuttings. Edge retention is not what you care about here. You want toughness and durability. So there you go. Sandblasted aluminum for the handle. Feels pretty solid, I gotta say. Do I have to? I'm going to. US made for this guy as well. The handle, or sorry, the sheath, interestingly, is 3D printed. And it is a friction fit. I'm not sure what particular, I was about to say alloy, what particular plastic they're using for the 3D print, but it feels good. You got a little bit of a fuzzy texture or rough texture on the outside to keep things a little classier than the standard lined finish you might get, and an ulti-clip for pocket or inside the waistband carry for quick access. Yank it, poke it, put it away. There you go.
Opening juice boxes.
Yes. I've found it really useful on the Capri Suns, especially. Any kind of bagged juice. But we have another item here with a 3D printed accessory. This is a $325 pen stand. Comes with a free pen though, so. This is the, it's a dumb joke. I'm sorry. That's dumb. That's dumber than the joke that I started with. I apologize for that one. This is the Tuff-Writer Special Mission Pen, and yes, it does come with its own, little, I was about to say kiosk, plinth or whatever you want to call it there. Anyway, a bit thicker or bigger in diameter than their standard precision press, but it has basically the same internals, same type of classic Tuff-Writer feel to the click mechanism. Titanium for the handles. I believe, I think this is actually a copper sleeve. Yeah, it is an actual copper sleeve here. It's got a bit of an orange peel texture, so that's gonna start to patina right quick for you folks. Feels nice and solid in the hand. Titanium clip, it uses Parker style refills, but in order to kind of get around what can happen, because there's such a wide variety of manufacturers that make Parker compatible refills, sometimes the overall length might be a little bit slightly different from manufacturer to manufacturer. You can actually adjust how far out the tip rests in the open position. I'm trying to find the exact fit adjustable ink cartridge spacer. So that's pretty cool too. Another nice US made pen right there. We haven't shown Tuff-Writers in a while, so it's high time we did. This is $325 though. There are much less expensive Tuff-Writers if you like what you see there, but don't need everything that brings to the lineup. Anyway, I like Tuff-Writers. I've owned a few Tuff-Writers. Last but not least, we have 3 Opinels these are custom limited edition V Cosmos artist collaborations. Priced at $58 for these two, and was this the black blade version here is $65. It is first and foremost the number 8, so it still functions as that great slicey everyday carry shape with the ring lock and very comfortable beechwood handles. But they each have custom artwork. Let me close this back up because we're just going to focus on that from here on out. This one is by the artist Asil. not the animal, not the singer either. Asio. I could be pronouncing that. I'm almost certainly pronouncing that wrong. This is a sun and moon design going on right there. You can see more detailed pictures at the website, of course. This next one is from artist Dalcafine. This is combining the constellations Tigris and Cineus with, representations of, as you can see right there. And last but not least, this one's my favorite just because I like the aesthetic of it. This is the, I like the guy's name, and I can pronounce this one. Benjamin Jean-Jean. I like that. With a sort of cosmic exploration theme to the handle right there. You've got yin yang on the solar face right there, and you've got the DLC blade and DLC parts. I mean, tell me that doesn't look pretty wicked. I like it anyway. Check them out at the links below. And as I mentioned, they are limited edition, so keep that in mind as well. That's all we got for today, folks. Happy New Year to everyone. Let me know what you thought of the knives in the comments, and to get your hands on them for yourself, check out the links in the description, which will take you to KnifeCenter.com. And don't forget about our long-running Knife Rewards program or our Sezzle and Apple Pay options at checkout. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center. That's still Thomas behind the camera. We're still around. Sorry, folks, but we'll see you next time.
Got a whole another year of this.
Yeah.